All right, leaving Levi's. I'm on the second floor. There's nobody here. There might be some people walking through. It's not that late. I still have more writing to do, so you guys have a nice piece on Samuel Womack coming tomorrow. But I know I gave you guys a stadium tour earlier. This is what it looks like when you leave the stadium following the 49ers preseason week 1 win over the Green Bay Packers. So on our way to the parking lot, here's some people. There's signs of life around here. I think that's the St. Thomas Aquino Creek behind me. I'm gonna let those people pass, then we could do the live. Why don't we just do it right here? Still a lot of people around here. I don't want to bug people. Doing the live, leaving Levi Stadium. Anyway, that was a lot of fun today. Normally, week 1 preseason, a lot of people get bored. I didn't get bored down the stretch of this game, and I think that's significant. I think when you get to see the competitive juices flowing with Brock Purdy, threw it to Keyshawn Johnson for the touchdown. I mean, there's a whole lot of defensive players I can talk about, and we're just going to generalize things, obviously, here as far as the end of that game went. You have fun talking about preseason football. So I thought that was important for the 49ers. It was a good vibe in the locker room. Leaving the locker room and going into the locker room was neat today, but leaving the locker room, I felt this renewed sense of energy that as far as covering the team, it was hard to have for the past couple years. I maintained the sense of energy, but there's only so much you could do when you can't go into the locker room due to all those COVID protocols. Everything was back to normal today. That was really cool. Spencer Burford is walking around. He's glowing after the game. I thought Burford played well for his first start. They gave him some extra reps even into the second half, starting at right guard, because I think they're crash coursing him so he could start at that position. He was in there. First guy I ran into was Jason Poe. Obviously the bowling ball, we call him, right? His mouth guard was still in the locker room. He was really excited after that first NFL game. I thought he had a couple reps where he really put his strength on display. So that was impressive stuff from Jason Poe. Obviously still a roster long shot, but that's 53-man roster long shot. There's more than just the 53-man roster. There's the practice squad. There's developmental stuff. The practice squad is bigger than it ever has been, right? Ever since these new COVID rules hit. So a guy like Jason Poe, I think, is very much in the mix, impressing the 49ers with his diligence. And you have to look in terms of the long game for players like this, and that's why this preseason stuff is really intriguing for players like that. You just have to see how they're going to develop. Samuel Womack. I've talked about him a lot in the lives. I've said this guy can start sooner rather than later. And one thing that I gathered, I talked to Talanoa Hufanga in the locker room for the 49ers. He said that Womack's one of the first guys in the building every single day. But the 49ers have another great thing going for them. And this is something that, I can glean by being in the locker room again. It's a college-style vibe. Guys are trying to help each other in that locker room. And guess who's trying to help Samuel Womack? The guy whose job he's trying to take. Darqueze Dennard. Darqueze Dennard is not some selfish veteran who's sitting there trying to cling to his job at all costs. He's actually pulling Samuel Womack off to the side, giving him tips. Samuel Womack, he's deep in his playbook. The guy studies. The guy does his homework. But the fact that the 49ers are willing to help each other with this kind of stuff, when you look at a guy like Darqueze Dennard, multi-year vet who's trying to help a guy like Samuel Womack, a rookie, that just shows that the culture's where it should be. And that just shows that the plan is going along as it should for the 49ers at that nickelback spot. They want the short term, and I think Dennard's still probably going to start week 1. But Womack showed just the tenacity, the coverage ability. A lot of DJ Reed in him, but as you saw today, he's smoother than DJ Reed, right? And I think that he's going to be a really good player. Maybe another 5th-round gem for the 49ers, because they've had a lot of them, right? George Kittle, DJ Reed was a 5th-round gem. Talanoa Hufanga, who talked to me about Samuel Womack today, 5th-round gem. Good stuff for the 49ers being able to find those diamonds in the rough a little bit later on. Toledo guy, Samuel Womack. Kadar Hallman, also Toledo guy. He had a nice pass breakup today, but then he got beaten by a touchdown for the touchdown a little bit later. Hallman talked about being teammates with Samuel Womack at Toledo, where Samuel Womack actually led the nation in pass breakups. So cool connections there. Offensive line for the 49ers today, they're going to need Obviously, Trent Williams and McGlinchey playing for longer than one series. It was rough with Justin School, his first game coming off the ACL there at right tackle. Trent Williams is maybe the best player in football. That's going to help the 49ers a lot. So, I mean, when I look at the offensive line, it's really hard for me to appraise it without both tackles because I don't count one series of Mike McGlinchey playing as, anything all too significant. So maybe week 3 of the preseason is when we'll finally be able to really appraise the first team 49ers offensive line. But, with McKivitz and School both getting backed into Trey Lance on the touchdown to Danny Gray, I think that's arrow up for Trey Lance. Hung in there in the pocket, delivered the dime downfield to Danny Gray, and probably has more to do with Danny Gray's speed on that play, getting behind the defense. Ray McLeod shaking the defender out of his pants on the touchdown from Sudfeld. But good stuff on both fronts from the 49ers. And then, if you want to talk good quarterback play, we saw it from Brock Purdy today. And yes, he's playing against the third stringers. It is the preseason. But it is validating to see, stuff that you saw on tape in college from these guys and that you saw on the practice field during training camp. It is fun to see it translate to a game and to an NFL game in the preseason. And with Brock Purdy, his Iowa State tape, I've made videos about this. There's off-schedule stuff in there. And when he's off schedule and he finds a way to still get his legs under him and plant his feet, he has some arm talent. He could get the ball downfield. Brock Purdy, he's not a physical player. He's not 6'4". I think Tim Ryan said today on the broadcast that if Brock Purdy were 6'4", he'd be a first-round pick. But he knows how to play the game, and he knows how to harness the physical capabilities that he does have to make plays. And he did that today. The touchdown to Tanner Hudson, he's rolling out of the pocket. That's off schedule. He's flushed out of that pocket, and he makes the play. And it really reminded me of some of that Iowa State film where we saw him deliver on those off-schedule opportunities. I'm going to move a little bit because there's a lot of beeping going on with these golf carts, so maybe we can walk over this way as I start to get toward my car and toward the parking lot. A lot of people were surprised, right, because they didn't know who Brock Purdy was coming out of college. But if you watch the tape, there was off-schedule stuff there, and we obviously saw off-schedule stuff today. And then Keyshawn Johnson made that manly grab on the 2-point conversion. Yeah, shout out to Kimoko Toure. He's going to make the 53-man roster, and normally you don't see guys who are 53-man roster locks have to play basically the entire second half, but 49ers were down some D linemen in this game. And because they're down D linemen in this game, they had to play a 53-man roster lock in Kimoko Toure, veteran, in the second half. But 5.5 sacks for the Colts last year, that's nothing to scoff at. This guy, this guy's a veteran who knows how to get after the quarterback. And today he showed that he's got some resourcefulness in the run game. He's only 248 pounds. But despite being light, next time I do these, I'm going to go up and have the field in the background. But today I just want to get to my car because I have to go wrap some stuff up. But the more that I'll tell you guys what, this reminds me, the 49ers played the Packers this time. This reminds me of the NFC divisional playoffs this past year at Lambeau Field. I was the last person in the stadium, and I did the live with the snow in the background. One of my biggest regrets in life is not going onto the field at Lambeau. The lights were still on. It was 2 a.m. I wish I would have done an Instagram or a YouTube live or whatever the hell we're on. Wish I would have done a live from the middle of Lambeau Field at 2:30 a.m., being the only person in the stadium after the 49ers beat them in January. The only reason that I did not venture to do that was because I was afraid I was going to freeze to death. It was negative 10 degrees, and I thought that I would get locked out and locked into the stadium and just die in the middle of Lambeau Field, so I didn't do it. And to this day, I severely regret not doing that and not getting a cool little behind-the-scenes live after the 49ers won that playoff game, because I was literally the last person in the stadium. So I do not want to live my life with regrets, which is why I like giving you guys some cool footage after these games. I'm walking to my car right now. Maybe walk through this way. What was I talking about football-wise? It's always tough to remember. I think I've cut, Kamoko Toure, yeah. I mean, a couple resourceful run stops. The guy's 248 pounds. So, look at this. They've got me blocked at the security area and a jet's flying over. It always does. There's the jet. Gotta walk this way. Toure, at 248 pounds, he's not going to be the guy that you're going to be thinking about stuffing the run, on 3rd and 4th and short, but he gets off the ball quickly. He's a vet. He knows what he's doing. And today, he impressed me. Got that 4th down stop that essentially sealed the game for the 49ers. And again, this is not a guy fighting for a roster spot, but he's there playing hard for the guys around him. And I thought that was, a good sign for the 49ers, indicative of good culture in the locker room, effort from a veteran, good pickup, and we know that defensive line. These guys are a bunch of studs. Being back in the locker room was awesome, and I can go into more depth about this later, but being back in that 49ers locker room today is just going to allow us to connect with that team in a way that we haven't been able to connect with the team over the past couple of years. And the last time that we were in that room after a game prior to today was after the NFC Championship, in which they beat the Packers 3 seasons ago, right? 2019 season, January 2020. I think it was January 20th, 2020. So it was special to be back in there today. It was a good vibe. Talking to Talanoa Hufanga, Trey Sermon, Samuel Womack was happy to be there. Jason Poe was buzzing. Spencer Burford, I mentioned earlier. I saw Trey Lance, with his little happy face shirt that he had on today. Just cool to be back in there in person. And I think Lance was either 4 or 5 or 5 of 6. He did miss a throw on the deep out to Danny Gray. That had been the issue for Trey Lance during training camp so far. And that's something he's going to have to fix. I mean, we didn't see all too much of Trey Lance, but today was good Trey Lance. But he's got to start hitting those deep out passes, intermediate out passes, and short out passes. I mean, into the flat. He's got to start hitting those with more consistency. And I think that will come with muscle memory. It will come with time. What I wanted to see from Trey Lance today, and I'm on the record saying this, I just wanted to see him be the field general. I wanted to see him in control of the offense. And guess what? I thought all 3 49ers quarterbacks looked like they were in control of the offense. And that's a testament to Brian Griese. It turns out that the inexperienced coach might actually know what he's doing. So Brian Griese, I thought, was impressive, just with his hands-on approach so far through training camp. And I think it did pay off for the 49ers today. You're seeing the fruits of that labor. Looks like a well-coached quarterback's room. And that offensive line, well, it's going to be a work in progress. A guy like Zakelj got pushed back on 1 pass blocking rep, but then Nick Zakelj, 6th rounder out of Fordham, had a couple good run blocking reps, blocking for Ty Davis Price in that second half. I think JaMychal Hasty ran behind him. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, and the 49ers were sitting so many guys today that it's hard to read too far into anything. You got to talk about Marcelino McCrary-Ball and how fast he looked on that interception. That pumped Fred Warner up, talked to him after the game. You could tell that they've been emphasizing takeaways and stuff, on the defense. What's up, man?
That's right, man. How you doing?
We got Grant Cohn in it.
It's my guy, David Lombardi. He does a great job. Make sure you follow him on YouTube and Twitter. He's killing it.
Follow him too.
Good to see you, man.
You too. Take care. That was funny. He's walking off to his car. Anyway, yeah, so I want to see what the comments to that are going to be. We are. I'm waiting for the comments. People are loving it. That's good. No, we're actually really cool. You guys probably always wonder, but everybody hangs out while we do our things. Anyway, yeah, people mentioning Kinlaw, it's funny. The 49ers, when you talk about the preseason, you want to see, these jets are so annoying. We're right under the landing path at the San Jose airport. When we talk about the preseason, we want to emphasize that, the 53-man roster is going to be the 53-man roster, but you're talking more about the 70-man roster when you're talking about the preseason, right? So all the machinations that are happening right now, all the competition that's happening right now with the 49ers, you're not necessarily going to see it week 1 on Sunday. It's more of a situation where they could be playing for a year from now or for 2 years from now. And with a guy like Marcelino McCrary-Ball, Seguno Olubi, Jeremiah Gemmel, those linebackers, those are obviously moves that the 49ers made for 2 years from now, maybe a year from now, right? When Dre Greenlaw and Azeez Al-Shire may not be with the 49ers. So that's what's really rewarding about these week 1 preseason games. We get 6 throws from Trey Lance, but it's not about the 6 throws from Trey Lance. It's about it's about the second and third string guys that are fighting for those spots in the second half. And it's going to become more and more about Trey Lance as we get further into the preseason. These joint practices with Minnesota, week 3 dress rehearsal. Then week 1, it's going to be all about Trey Lance. But right now you could focus on the future. You could look at the 6 Trey Lance throws and not make too much of them. And I think that's really important. So anyway, guys, I want to drive home right now because I want to start getting to work on a bigger piece here on Samuel Womack that's going to come out tomorrow on The Athletic. So make sure to subscribe. We'll talk to you guys all soon. Good night from Levi's Stadium. Yes, Trey did look confident out there. That was great for the 49ers.